This is RheumNow Takeaways. Hi, I'm Jack Cush with RheumNow. In Takeaways, we review the last week of news on the RheumNow platform and thought I would give you my takeaways from the past week. I'm a board-certified rheumatologist in Dallas, Texas. I love rheumatology, the care of patients with musculoskeletal, rheumatic, and autoimmune problems. You know, there's about 5,000 of us out there who do what I do. They're the ones you want to see if you've got the aches and you don't know what the cause is. So this week on our educational website, we report a number of things. Here's a few of the things I liked. There was actually a report about Crohn's disease, a colitis, inflammatory disorder. It was reported in a Lancet, and it looked at a large cohort of patients who were taking a bunch of drugs. They're taking infliximab and fusible biologic, and along with an immunosuppressant. The question is, could you withdraw some therapy? And when they compared whether you withdrew therapy, one therapy or another, or stayed on the drug, turns out that if you withdrew the most powerful and most expensive therapy, you actually had a 3.5 to 4 or almost 5-fold increased risk of flaring. 36% flare rates if you stopped the infliximab, but only about 10% if you stopped the immunosuppressant. So this is the case in rheumatoid and a lot of other drugs where, we put patients on combinations of drugs and we'd like to take them off, but if you achieve disease control, going off a drug is probably not a good idea. So another study from Italy looked at why patients fail certain drugs. Not surprisingly, it's about 20% fail because the drug didn't work, 20% because they didn't tolerate the drug. Really only about 1% failed for serious infections, like, pneumonia and things like that. And more importantly, there's about 8 to 10% of patients who fail multiple drugs. So they're difficult to treat. If you're one of those patients who keeps failing multiple drugs, you got to have a heart-to-heart with your doctor about why this is so and how your therapy can be adjusted or tailored to treat you. And maybe these expensive drugs, biologic drugs, may not be right for you. New recommendations came out about how to treat enthesitis. What in the world is enthesitis? That's inflammation of tendons and ligaments that insert on bone. Most commonly, you would think of either plantar fasciitis or Achilles tendonitis as examples of enthesitis. When this is present in people with psoriatic arthritis, and it is found about 30% of the time, it portends a more difficult kind of disease, meaning there's more X-ray damage, there's more severe disease, there's poorer responses to drugs. So treating that aggressively is really important if you happen to have psoriatic arthritis and you have enthesitis or Achilles tendonitis, etc. Annals of Internal Medicine, a major medical journal, reported on osteoarthritis and whether you should have exercise if you have knee osteoarthritis. Turns out that really intense exercise, like 90 minutes at a time versus 20 or 30 minutes at a time, didn't really matter. Just doing exercise is what mattered most. And lastly, when you start or use steroids, there's a lot of risks. And the question is, how frequently do you get the things we don't want you to get if you're on steroids like prednisone or injectable steroids or even inhaled steroids? And a large study, many studies and many patients showed number one risk is weight gain, 13%. Number two risk is high blood sugar, a prelude to diabetes, and 10%. Number three is hyperlipidemia. All those cholesterol and subtypes go up in 8% and hypertension in 6%. These are numbers worth knowing. That's it for this week. Tune in again.